Welcome back, excuse me, to Joe Stunner Boxing. I've just watched the fantastic, grueling, hard, energy-sapping 12-round fight between Joshua Buatsi and Craig Richards. Brilliant, brilliant fight. Such a high level of skill mixed in with determination. Both guys with fantastic engines, good jaws, marvellous stuff. Great, great domestic dust-up. It was won on points, a close, grueling fight by Joshua Buatsi. Where do we begin with this one? Well, how about we look at the two fighters going in? Buatsi was the favourite, probably understandably so. He had wins against Ricards Bolotniks, which I thought was a very good win. Bolotniks is a tough, tough guy. Was coming off of winning one of those MTK golden ticket tournaments, which I guess are now defunct, bearing in mind what's happened to MTK. Got stopped in 11 by Buatsi. Prior to that, Daniel Dos Santos, who was unbeaten in 15, got knocked out in 4. Prior to that, Buatsi had a bit of a stern test against Marko Kalic. He was undefeated, 11-0. That goes back to 2020. The Bolotniks and the Dos Santos fights were in 2021. So this was the first fight for Buatsi in 2022. And yeah, he was the favourite going in. I think deservedly so. I thought he'd win on points. But Craig Richards, you look at his record, far less amateur experience. Buatsi was an Olympic bronze medalist. I think Craig he says he had about 20 amateur fights. I don't know. I don't know what his amateur record was. But, he'd fought Bivol and given Bivol a reasonable argument for the WBA world title. Prior to that, Shakan Pitters, he lost his British light heavyweight title fight to Craig. And prior to that, there was a weird sort of draw with Chad Sugden over 8 rounds, which I guess maybe Richards was lacking in motivation. I don't know, but he's had this sort of he's had some good wins. Jake Ball, he did him in 3, but you get the feeling Richards is sort of learning on the job, whereas Buatsi is the sort of golden ticket prospect. But make no mistake about it, at 32, Richards is probably in his prime and showed it against Buatsi. Buatsi, younger man, 29 years old. They're both from South London. I think Richards is from Crystal Palace. I don't know where. I think he's from Croydon, Buatsi. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, great, great fight. So it started with an opening round, which I got the feeling Buatsi was determined from the opening seconds to stamp his authority on the fight, and Richards wasn't really having any of it. I thought he countered quite well in that opening round. There's no doubt he was taking a bit of mental pressure, because this fight was absolutely steeped in mental pressure as well as the physicality of it all. Both guys had to concentrate for every second of every round. And I thought Spider Richards sort of edged the first round. A lot of people felt Buatsi won it. I just thought Spider was a little bit more in the counter punching I liked. Second round, I thought Buatsi won that one. Was a bit more authoritative. In the third round, I thought he really... it was the fourth round. The third round I gave to Buatsi. The fourth round, Buatsi really started to work the body well. Very, very well. And I thought... I remember... I watched this live. I thought, that's the key. That's the key. Go to the body. Because Richards can take a wallop to the body or the head. There's no doubt about it. He's tremendous, tremendous engine. And I just felt that Buatsi was, after 4 rounds, Buatsi was really in the ascendancy, and Richards, it became a case of what can he do? Can he come back? Can he stem the flow? Because Buatsi was finding some real rhythm here. And Buatsi's jab should not be underrated. Richards himself had a good quality jab, but the thing about Richards is there's long periods of inactivity during rounds, long periods of it. And Buatsi had these explosive bursts. Certainly, and I think that was the third round, he really showed him, like he got, with the fourth, he got Richards on the ropes, the third or the fourth, I can't remember which, and he was letting his hands go, and Richards was, rocking and rolling with the punches, spinning off the ropes, and was fine. He wasn't really buzzed. There were a couple of occasions in the fight where both guys looked a bit stung, but they weren't really fully buzzed. So after 7 rounds, I mean, this continued. After 7 rounds, I had Buatsi 5-2 up. And it was looking like Richards, he was going to have to find something from somewhere. For what that would be, I don't know, because he wasn't really doing anything wrong. It's just that Buatsi seemed to have the heavier hands. Certainly the jab was heavier, and he wasn't giving Richards the opportunity to counter as much as he seemed to want to do. But by the way, on DAZN, Tony Bellew gave the first 7 rounds to Buatsi. I mean, I think that's probably pushing it a bit, but a lot of them were close rounds. I suppose you could give them to one guy. But I had him 5-2 up, Buatsi, after 7 rounds. And then Richards starts to come back. And in the, what was it, 8th round, 7th, 8th, 9th round, I can't remember which one it was. But for the first time, Richards really stamped his authority. I think it was the 8th round where he let his hands go. And suddenly, Buatsi looked very, very tired and did look stung for the first time. Buatsi's also got a bad habit of complaining to the referee, and it was in that round, I can't remember offhand whether it was the 7th or 8th, where he was complaining to the referee, and Richards took over that round and basically battered him. Richards, in my opinion, spent way too much time on the ropes. He was slipping and sliding very well, but you're not going to win points. It creates the impression that you're kind of trying to survive, or you're trying to do damage limitation rather than be offensive. But after that round, was it the 7th or 8th round? I wish I could remember which one it was. But after that round where Richards really had the first round of tremendous success, much needed, he then followed it up with another round where at the ending of it, I think it was the 9th, the end of the last minute, they were just exchanging full-blooded hooks and blows, and Buatsi's got a good uppercut. He was throwing. They were both aiming for the rafters. They were both looking to put each other's heads in the cheap seats. Tremendous last minute of that round. I think it was the 9th. So that brings us to the championship rounds. And I gave 2 of them to Spider and 1 to Joshua Buatsi. And at the end of the fight, I had this 114, a draw. Okay. The 2 of the judges had it 115, 113 to Buatsi. No problem with those scores. You possibly could have given it by a point or 2 to Richards. But my scorecard, watching it live, was a draw. One of the judges, I can't remember his name, had it 116, 112 to Buatsi. And again, I think that's too wide, but some of these rounds were so close, and if you like Bellew's scorecard, 7-0 after 7 rounds to Buatsi, it's an eyebrow raiser. But yeah, you can make a claim for that. Because for the first half of the fight, Buatsi was a step ahead, a punch ahead, bit more power. Second half of the fight, Richards, I think, came back. I had it a draw, and I've got a feeling if I watched it again, I could have it a draw again, or I could have it a point or 2 to either guy. But anyway, I heard before the fight that I think one of the mistakes people were making is before the fight, I heard this from several other YouTubers as well as people I spoke to, was that Buatsi is a spiteful guy in the ring, which he is. He has lots of explosive pockets of power. He'll explode, but then he'll take them 30 seconds off. And people were saying that might be the edge. He might sort of look like he wants it more over Richards. And I never bought that argument, because Richards has shown in the past, I'm thinking of the Shekan Pitters fight in particular, that he himself can be explosive. He's got a great engine. He's got a steel jaw. And just because he has this out of the ring he has a rather languid, loose-limbed style. His arms are very, very long and deceptively long. And I think people, certainly Shekan Pitters, found out the hard way that you sometimes think you're out of range and you're not. But Richards, no doubt in my mind, he's got some spite in him as well. And I think we saw that in the second half of this fight, because he put it on Buatsi. And Buatsi at times, when he was complaining to the referee way too much, you should, never do that. Just, let your corner argue with the ref. Let the ref do his job. And if the ref's not doing his job and the guy fouls you, you foul him back. We've seen this before from Buatsi. It's a bad habit. He did it against, might have been Dos Santos. I can't remember which one it was. Bolotniks, maybe. I can't remember. But he needs to get out of that habit, because it breaks your concentration, and you're there to fight, not to argue. It's not a debate. You know, it's a debate with your fist, if you like. But he got the win. I thought it was a draw, but Buatsi got the win. He moves on. He won, I think, a WBA international title or something like that. Neither guy came out of this not smelling of roses. They've both increased their stock as far as I'm concerned. Richards can regroup. 32, but he's not an old 32. Didn't have a long amateur career, I don't think. Hasn't had many fights. I think he's had 21 pro fights now. He can come back. He's still got miles on the clock left. But Buatsi, I'd love to see a rematch of this, but probably Buatsi will go for the world title, which is held by Bivol. Bivol versus Buatsi, I'd love to see it, but of course Bivol may well fight a return with Canelo. But yeah, both these guys, a credit to the sport, a credit to themselves, credit to British boxing. Wonderful fight. And if you haven't seen it, go on DAZN and watch it. DAZN are showing some good stuff. The undercard of this particular evening's entertainment was lacking a bit of a mixed bag, but certainly the main event delivered. Have a look at it on DAZN. If you got any comments, leave them below. Who do you think won? Did you agree with me with the draw, or do you think either guy won? Yeah, I watched it live. That was my scorecard live. Tell me what you think. Thanks as always for your time. I really appreciate you watching the videos. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. Please hit the subscribe button. We want to build it up, build the channel up a bit. And yeah, hit the like button, share the video, do what you need to do. But anyway, great fight, and I will speak to you again sometime. Enjoy your Sunday. We've got Sunday coming up now. Yeah, enjoy your Sunday. It's my birthday tomorrow on Sunday. I'm 21 again. You know what I mean. See you later.